Hey, get the hug.
There we go. Got enough of those out here. Hello, my name is Brandon Evans. I'm the Director of Golf at Westbrook Village Golf Club in Peoria, Arizona.
I'm David Escobedo, Golf Course Superintendent, Westbrook Village Golf Club.
We're going through our course today and we're going to explain our aerification process that we're doing in the summer of 2022.
And we are at the Vistas Golf Course. We're on our way to number 9 Fairway. The deep Tine aerification machines are on, I believe, number 8. And we're going to kind of see what we do before they come out in preparation for them. I'll let you get all that out of there. Yeah, or a truck. Yeah, that'll be on a YouTube channel, big time.
So they haven't made it to 9 yet, correct?
No.
So what's all this that we see out here?
So all this you see out here are cores that we pulled with the well not functioning for several weeks. The soil got pretty hard. Even though we had city water, we were still only watering about 70% of what we needed. So we were only able to get water down 2 inches maybe. So we've had to bring in our pull behind aerifier and hit some of the areas that are really hard. We've followed up the aerification with heavy irrigation, approximately 3 inches of water to get the soil moist in preparation for the deep Tine aerifiers. That way, the softer our soil is, the deeper their aerification tines will go. So we're trying to get 4 to 6 inches of aerification from them, and it's pretty hard to do if the ground is like concrete.
Yeah, I bet. So notice all these yellow flags you have out here. I'm assuming that's just marking the sprinkler heads?
That's marking sprinklers so that they don't break them.
Does that happen pretty often?
They broke 6 at the lakes, and their boss wasn't really happy because they run about $400 each, so they had to reimburse us a good chunk of change. Today their boss has actually been out several times making sure they're not hitting any heads, and so far after about 6 or 7 holes they haven't. So we could use new sprinkler heads here at the Vistas, so I wouldn't be too disappointed if they hit a few. But no, in reality they're doing a really good job, and we're already seeing the fairways at the Vistas heal up. The humidity has been pretty significant, pretty unbearable for us, but the Bermuda's really liking it. And with this deep Tine aerification, after they come through, we're going to do another deep watering, get that water down 4 to 6 inches, and that's really going to get this stuff popping. We'll be following it up with a couple of fertilizer applications, primarily ammonium sulfate, which is high in nitrogen, which kind of gives the grass a shot in the arm, if you will.
Okay. So notice it's looking pretty green. Is that mainly for just having the pump back on, or has the weather helped out a little bit?
It's definitely both. It's definitely both. You're seeing the minute we turned the well back on, we noticed a difference, and we believe that. I've said it before, our water is, in my opinion, cleaner and more beneficial agronomically than tap water. Our well water doesn't have chlorine. It doesn't have some of the salts that our tap water has. So the grass absolutely responds in a positive way when it doesn't have to deal with salts and sodium. And that's why almost all plants, whether they're grass or trees or shrubs, you name it, that's why they respond you get such a positive response from a rain, because rain is about the purest water you can have. And here we are on hole 7, and they're pretty much going to town here.
This is
deep Tine
aerifier?
This is a deep Tine aerifier. It's a pull behind, and they're hitting rocks in some holes. There's some holes where you'll actually see the machine bounce, but so far it's looked pretty good. And here you could kind of see how deep they're going. So we're getting about good 4 inches of aerification, which is pretty good.
Wow.
And that'll vary from area to area. As you look at an area there here in front of 7, the bunker on 7, not a lot of grass there, so it's really, really hard. And so the machines will tend to bounce and we'll have to work a little harder there. But once they get down there, we're gonna come in with a lot of water and fertilizer. We'll get that grass up and going pretty quick.
So when you say deep tine aerification, these are solid tines, correct?
These are solid tines. The whole idea of deep tining is to fracture the soil. We have primarily clay and rock. That's the soil. That's the primary soil here in Arizona. It'll vary different parts of the country. We don't get snow here. Snow, if you, on courses that get a snowpack, you have about 6 to 8 inches of snow, sometimes more, sitting on there, and that gradually melts into the soil, softening the soil really nicely. Over years, over time, that breaks up the rock or softens things. We don't get that here. So here we get, you know, we're a desert. We get hard, rocky soil. Clay can be almost as hard as concrete here. So that's why we have to use a solid tine. A hollow tine is primarily used for thatch removal purposes. As you see, we have a lot of thin areas here. There's not a lot of thatch here. So a hollow tine would not be as beneficial. It won't go as deep, and they would break more frequently. The other risk we have by using a hollow tine this deep is that you'll pull up a lot of rock. And now when we follow up these aerifications with our mowers, our mower blades are going to be cutting all this rock up, and that'll destroy the reels, destroy the bed knife. So it's not really beneficial to go with a hollow deep tine.
Okay.
You know.
But we use a hollow tine on our tee boxes and whatnot just because we know it fixes.
Right, right. And we'll use them on the greens because there we will develop a thatch layer. And we eventually will develop a thatch layer on our fairways. Usually we'll see that in late July, early August, especially after a monsoon rain. As you can see, it's overcast today. It's very humid, ideal Bermuda grass growing weather. But yet our fairways, especially at the Vistas, are still thin because they were somewhat water depleted because of the well issues. So
definitely looks like it's starting to pick up.
Oh yeah, they're definitely coming in, and like I say, we're coming in with some aerification, extra water, and some fertilizer. So they're getting what they need, and I would say they're, you know, probably 50 to 70% more filled in than they were a week ago. And as long as the weather continues to cooperate, they'll keep moving along. 1 week after the lakes greens were aerified and whatnot, you can kind of see they've healed up pretty well. Not a lot of holes left. They just need another light top dressing to kind of just fill all the nooks and crannies, if you will, to really smooth them out. But we used a 5/8 hollow tine on the greens here at the Vistas. Compared to the lakes, we used a 1/2 inch hollow tine. Why did we go with different tines? Very simple. The lakes greens heal very slowly. Different grass, different variety of Bermuda. They're Tiff Dwarf. Tiff Dwarf is not an aggressive growing grass. So if we went with a 5/8 tine over there, it would take those holes a lot longer to heal. We didn't feel a need to go with a bigger hole over there because the compaction issue over there was not very severe. They weren't full of thatch like that, which would have affected the decision to go with a bigger tine. So a 1/2 inch tine was ideal. They healed up really quick. When we opened the Lakes Golf Course a few days ago, the greens were putting fairly well, and they're putting even better now. The Vistas greens, Tiff green, very aggressive grower. So these heal up a lot faster from a 5/8 hollow tine. So we decided to go with that here. When we aerified these greens, just before we aerified them, we were only able to get about maybe 3 inches of water penetration. So the timing was perfect to get these aerified. So once we aerified them, we top dressed them, had the holes filled in, watered them really heavy, and they're doing really well. So they're going to be in really good shape when we open next week.
How often throughout the year do you top dress?
We top dress here probably about 5 or 6 times a year. It'll depend on how fast they're growing. The faster they grow, the more sand we have to put down. It's all about just trying to keep the thatch layer under control. If you get too much thatch, you'll have a lot of problems getting water down to the roots. But also you got to be careful, because too little thatch, then you have issues like we have at the Lakes practice green where they're not holding nutrients. So you got to find that window that's just right for the grass and whatnot. So we're not on a super aggressive fertilizing program on either golf course because that keeps the thatch layer under control. We've had to bump it up and treat the Lakes practice green differently than all the others, because we're trying to push that one a little bit harder. But keeping them a little bit lean keeps the putting surface much truer and smoother, and it also keeps the grass a little bit healthier. If we fertilize the greens like we do the tees and fairways, they'd be so thick and lush, they'd look great, but they would be a terrible putting surface. So we have to find that balance, and occasionally we have to sacrifice aesthetics for putting quality. That's kind of our practice here, and that's how we do things and stuff. But for now, right now, they look great. They were fertilized with some nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So they're getting best of all the worlds, and they look really good.